Our next session is all about being fabulous as I am. This whole day, you know, all the speakers have had one sort of resonating theme. They've had one resonating theme, and that theme has been about self-love, about liking yourself the way you are. And you're going to meet in this segment three very, very interesting, three very, very different women, but all in a way exemplifying that spirit. I first want to bring on stage a very, very special guest, because we want to sort of honor her at the top of this conversation. Shatabdi Avasthi is from Jaipur, from your city. She's a paralympic. She's turned crisis into championship. And there she is. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Shatabdi, मैंने आपको आपके बारे में बहुत पढ़ा, पर मैंने आपको फिर केबीसी पे भी देखा. आप उस एक्सपीरियंस के बारे में थोड़ा कुछ बोलना चाहेंगी?
एक्चुअली कुछ ऐसा होता है लाइफ में जिससे हमेशा के लिए ज़िंदगी बदल जाती है, एक नया रुख ले लेती है. तो वैसे मेरी लाइफ का सबसे जो मैं बोलूँगी कि लाइफ चेंजिंग मोमेंट था, वो था जब मेरा एक्सीडेंट हुआ था. मैं छत से गिरी और उसकी वजह से स्पाइनल कॉर्ड इंजरी मुझे हुई और मैं हमेशा के लिए व्हीलचेयर पे आ गई. बट उस टाइम पे चीज़ें इतनी डिफ़िकल्ट थी कि आपको नहीं समझ में आता कि आपको अब क्या करना है. लेकिन मैंने सिर्फ ये सोचा था कि मुझे हार नहीं माननी है. जो भी है, जैसी भी सिचुएशंस हैं, इन्हीं सिचुएशंस में खुद को प्रूव करके दिखाना है. तो वही मेरा स्ट्रगल चल रहा था जब मैं अपने आप को साबित करने की कोशिश कर रही थी. उसी बीच में केबीसी मेरी लाइफ में आया और जो मैं चाहती थी वो हो गया. मेरी लाइफ सच में चेंज हो गई. उसने एक फेम दिया, नेम दिया, एक पहचान दी इस शो के अंदर. और जैसा कि मैं चाहती थी कि मैं दुनिया के सामने अपने आप को लेके आऊँ, इस वजह से नहीं कि मैंने बहुत कुछ मैंने कुछ बहुत बड़ा किया है, सिर्फ इस वजह से कि मैं लोगों को ये बताना चाहती थी कि मैंने ज़िंदगी से हार नहीं मानी. जो भी सिचुएशंस मेरी लाइफ में आई, जैसी भी परिस्थितियाँ आई, मैंने यही कोशिश की कि मैं अपने आप को साबित करूं. तो उसके लिए केबीसी ने मुझे एक बहुत बड़ा प्लेटफॉर्म दिया जो कि मुझे चाहिए था, और उससे फिर हमेशा के लिए ज़िंदगी बदल गई.
इसीलिए हम आपको बात आगे बढ़ाने से पहले हमारा जो अवार्ड है उससे आपको ऑनर करना चाहते हैं. इफ़ वी कैन गेट द अवार्ड ऑन स्टेज. और आपने केबीसी के बारे में बात की कि कैसे उसने प्रोग्राम ने आपको एक फेम दिया. तो मैं चाहती हूँ कि अगर श्वेता बच्चन और नव्या नंदा स्टेज पे आए और आपको इस पुरस्कार से सम्मानित करें. कैन वी प्लीज put our hands together for both Shweta and Navya, but of course,
what a pleasant surprise
for Shatabdi, who says KBC changed her life. Can we get the award here? Can you please? Okay, Shweta. Come on, let's hear it for Shatabdi. Let's hear it for Shatabdi. कुछ कहना चाहिए?
मुझे ये अवार्ड लेते हुए बहुत खुशी हो रही है. और ये इसका इस अवार्ड के मायने इसलिए बदल गए हैं क्योंकि जिस शख्स से मेरी ज़िंदगी बदली थी, कौन बनेगा करोड़पति, द मैन ऑफ मिलेनियम, द ग्रेट 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 अमिताभ बच्चन जी, उनकी डॉटर के से मुझे ये अवार्ड मिल रहा है. तो इसके मायने बहुत ज़्यादा हैं, क्योंकि अमिताभ जी एक ऐसी शख्सियत हैं जिनसे मिलना, मुझे नहीं लगता कि शायद हम लोगों में से उनसे मिलना तो बहुत दूर की बात है, शायद हम लोग सपना भी नहीं देखते कि हम उनसे मिल पाएंगे. लेकिन वो सपना मेरा पूरा हुआ अमिताभ जी से मिलने का. और इससे भी बड़ी बात यह है कि जो उनका नेचर है, जितने डाउन टू अर्थ वो हैं, आपको तो बहुत अच्छे से पता होगा, आपको तो बहुत खुशकिस्मत है कि आप उनके साथ में रहते हैं. लेकिन मैंने जितना भी टाइम उनके साथ में स्पेंड किया, वो बहुत ही डाउन टू अर्थ हैं. और मैम, यू वोंट बिलीव, जब मेरा नंबर आया था और मुझे व्हीलचेयर को पोडियम के ऊपर शिफ्ट किया गया था, तो उससे पहले वो खुद उठ के आए और उन्होंने पूरा सिक्योरिटी चेक किया कि सब कुछ परफेक्ट है. उसी के बाद उन्होंने मुझे वहाँ पे बैठने दिया. और जब भी ब्रेक होता है तो वो आपके पास आ जाते हैं, आपके हाथ पकड़ के बैठ जाते हैं. और उनके वो जो एकदम रूई जैसे मुलायम हाथ है, मैं उस एहसास को मैं आज तक नहीं भूली हूँ. और जो एक एक पॉजिटिविटी, हम बोलते हैं ना कि इतने बड़े आदमी के सामने बैठ के खेलना, और हम जैसे एक आम इंसान जो हम लोग होते हैं तो कहीं ना कहीं हम नर्वस फील करते हैं. लेकिन वो ऐसे व्यक्ति हैं जो आपको कभी नर्वस नहीं होने देते. वो इतना फेमिलियर फील कराते हैं कि आज 10 साल हो गए मुझे केबीसी में भाग लिए हुए, लेकिन फिर भी उनके साथ स्पेंड किया हुआ एक एक मोमेंट मेरे पास में अभी है, और मैं पूरी लाइफ उनको चेरिश करना चाहती हूँ.
एंड शताब्दी, आप रहिए स्टेज पे, हमारी बातचीत जारी रहेगी. थैंक यू अगेन Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Shweta. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so as I said, this session is called Fabulous As I Am, and it is in partnership with one of our other partners on We the Women in Amer. But I want to introduce, we have a little very interesting video for you to play out, but before that, I want to introduce the other two speakers. As I said, these are three fabulous women from very different spaces, but all exemplifying the same spirit. I think any of you who are on Instagram and are interested in fashion and style have to know the next speaker I'm about to call on stage. Please put your hands together to welcome Sakshi Sindwani on stage. Sakshi, oh, there you are. Thank you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Come, have a seat. There are many mics, just grab a seat anywhere. Aapko main... Can you come? Great. And finally, you know, we've had many unconventional brides on this stage today. You saw the Chenda playing Kerala drummer girl. We also have somebody who decided to get married in a pantsuit. She just wanted to make a statement, and she's been making many, many important statements about body positivity since then. Can we please have on stage Sanjana Rishi? Come on, let's Jaipur. You're flagging in energy. Let's put your hand. Hello. No, thank you for coming. Just, why don't you sit next to Sakshi there? Yeah. And before we get started, we did a little experiment. You know, with an Amer, we went out on the streets of Bangalore, and we asked girls to talk about this idea of self-love. Like pretty much all day, you know, we've been having different kinds of conversations about how women wrestle with demons in their head. How do you get out of that sort of shadowy space? How do you get into a space where you're at ease with yourself? अपने आप को पसंद ज़्यादा करना चाहिए, लेकिन हम लोग करते नहीं हैं. तो हमने कुछ लड़कियों से पूछा कि उनका क्या response है. Just vox pops. Listen in, and then we'll start a conversation.
I think I love my body because it's my confidence. I wish for more women in the workforce. For all the women, believe in yourself, stay independent, stay strong. What are your views on body positivity?
I feel that everybody should accept themselves as they are, and they should feel comfortable in their own body. So if you accept yourself and if you feel that you are beautiful, then everybody is going to feel that because of the confidence that you are giving out.
There's no other way. We have to love our body. All women should love their body, and only then you can be happy.
I think women is actually blessed with beautiful body, and one is beauty, and one more thing is like I'm a mother. For me to even have that bearing the child, that really I really feel proud about it.
Do you think your body is beautiful?
I think my body is beautiful because it has helped me give birth to two beautiful children.
I feel I'm unique and made only me. As such, I love myself and I love my body.
I am fabulous as I am.
I'm fabulous as I am.
I am fabulous as I am.
I'm fabulous.
She's fabulous. She's fabulous.
Fabulous. We don't hear it often enough. You can clap. You can clap louder than that. Come on. Yes. Okay. Sakshi, I love your Instagram feed. You always look so happy. You always look so with it and energized. But was it always like that for you?
Not at all.
Tell us about the sort of dark spaces and how you emerged from those shadows.
The dark went really,
To
dark.
reach this point where there's so much sort of comfort and energy that you exude.
I think positivity anyway comes from a place of pain, somehow. And when you reach that point of confidence, you know that you've been through the journey of reaching that point of confidence.
Yeah.
And I always say self-love is such a journey. I don't think I'm the standard set in self-love or body positivity or what people, associate me with. But
do you feel sometimes burdened that so many people put that sort of expectation on you or at your door?
No, not really. Not really. I think when people say that I'm the inspiration for a lot of people, I take that as such a responsibility. It's not a burden at all because I know that when I was growing up, I needed to see somebody like me. And the reason why I actually started was because I was so done with seeing typical, this ideal body types
That
on traditional
prototype,
media.
yeah.
And, because my family, they used to constantly tell me, my sister was obsessed with magazines. So we would have every single magazine coming to our house. And they would just look at that, Sakshi, if you just lose weight, you would be so much prettier than them, right? And they would say it in like not such a negative way. But as a child, I was so influenced by that. Plus what I was dealing with in school, I was completely and ridiculously bullied in school.
Really?
Yeah, like for so many years, I couldn't even go out in the school corridors without
Like
being
what would
called
happen?
name.
What would school kids say?
Everything mean. I tend not to go in that space because it's taken me so many years to actually heal from that space, but just very negative comments, how people are. And the worst of it all was that, as much as boys would bully me, girls would bully me as well. And, that is the space I wanted to change. Because...
And I mean, girls and women are also conditioned by the same inputs that men are, so it's not always men versus women.
Right.
How did you get out of it?
It took years of hard work, and I think more than anything, the community actually helped me. When I started on my journey on social media, on YouTube specifically, I never started with the intention I'm going to change the world or I'm going to become this. I honestly just wanted to create fashion videos. It was as simple as that. But I started getting comments on how my body type and a regular body type is actually inspiring other people. And that to me was so fascinating because I used to not see myself as that. I was still so underconfident. And slowly and steadily, when people started putting me on another pedestal, I started gaining a lot of confidence. It was actually the community that built me up. And then, I don't know, it's just the opportunities that come your way, and then the industry was changing and the people were changing and more conversations were happening. I was starting a bunch of those conversations as well in my areas. And it was just such a journey. There was no one point where, that change happened. I don't think that change has truly, fully happened also.
I don't think it has, because the same Instagram or social media spaces that offer you that space to love yourself, also Sanjana can create a kind of as prototypical idea of beauty. There's so many filters now. You can, Vidya Balan on stage was saying that sometimes people don't look anything like what they look on social media. And so are we really sort of embracing the idea of self-love? Now, you got married in a pantsuit. I remember talking to you there. What was that about? Tell our audience.
It wasn't really about anything, kind of like Sakshi. I wasn't setting out to accomplish anything. I wore what I felt I looked good in. There were exactly 12 people, including the Pandit, at my wedding because it was in the height of the pandemic. And, don't get me wrong, I love lehengas, I love saris. It just didn't seem like a 10 kg lehenga was appropriate for that occasion. And so I ended up wearing a pantsuit. I didn't expect it to blow up the way that it did, and I definitely didn't expect the kind of like vitriol and hatred that came out of it because...
You got hatred for your own wedding sort of sartorial choice.
I mean, people were like, oh, you're anti-Indian, hamare culture ko badnaam kar rahe ho, and all of this stuff, go back to Pakistan. I mean, just random stuff that doesn't even really make any sense.
Yeah.
But then there were a lot, and I didn't really realize my privilege until I had posted about it, and then it became this story because there are so many women in India that would not, and elsewhere, that would not have the freedom to wear what they want to wear at weddings. And so many people wrote to me saying, my mother-in-law would never let me wear this, or, because I saw this, I decided to wear a different color even. So we live in a much, Sakshi and I live in a much different world than most Indian women do, where we are allowed the privilege of wearing what we want. And I just, that's really a privilege to me.
And since then, you've been talking about what women go through after delivering a child and the pressure on them to lose your stretch marks, to lose your weight. I mean, I know you've just delivered. How long back?
She's 13 months now, so it's old news, as my mom likes to say. But I delivered, and I realized that, again, like pregnancy is also quite glorified. You have this perfect looking belly bump, and then, you lose all the weight, you bounce back, and just this bounce back culture is just really toxic. And in that moment, in that first year of your baby's life, all you're focused on is the baby, right? And so I had a lot of, when you're pregnant, you lose a lot of your body autonomy. Yeah. And when I had this baby, I was like, I am getting my autonomy back. I'm going to eat whatever I want to and just like spoil myself in a way that I hadn't before, because my whole life, especially as a woman, you are told to be so controlled, right?
Yeah.
And like so, like you have to be on top of everything all the time, especially the way that you look. So this for me was my year of like losing control over that aspect, so I could keep control over, you know, my parenting. And I mean, just speaking about it on Instagram, I think is, again, because I get so many negative comments about it, I didn't realize how uncomfortable the reality of women's bodies can make not just men, but also some women.
And now, a very different perspective from Shatabdi, क्योंकि यहाँ पर हम लोग बात कर रहे हैं body positivity, self love, what our weight should be, हमारे कपड़े कैसे होने चाहिए, हमारा skin कैसे होना चाहिए, and you're a paralympic, you're wheelchair bound. तो आपके लिए ये जो space है, अपने आप को comfortable महसूस करना, to love yourself, to not be bitter, to not be angry, to not look at yourself through the eyes of others, ये किस तरह की आपके लिए journey रही है?
जब मेरा एक्सीडेंट हुआ तो
ये कब की बात है आपकी एक्सीडेंट?
2006.
थोड़ा माइक ऊपर पकड़िए.
2006. When I just completed my graduation, I was preparing for armed forces. I wanted to be in armed forces.
Oh, you wanted to be a soldier.
Yes.
Okay.
बचपन से सपना था ये, but something else destined for me. जब graduation complete हुआ और मैं preparation कर रही थी तभी एक्सीडेंट हुआ और complete मतलब lower portion में sensation loss हो गया था spinal cord injury की वजह से. तो शुरू में तो आई डोंट नो व्हाट एग्जैक्टली डॉक्टर सेड, बट मुझे तो यही बोला गया था कि आपको ग्रेजुअली इम्प्रूवमेंट्स होंगे. पर जैसे जैसे टाइम निकलता गया, 2 महीने, 4 महीने, 6 महीने, तो फिर ये समझ में आने लगा था कि अब शायद कुछ चेंज नहीं होगा. और वो एक ऐसा टाइम था जिस टाइम में सब कुछ देख लिया. कुछ लोग ऐसे थे जो आपको घर पे आते हैं पूछने के लिए, वेल विशर बनते हैं, बट लोग ये तक बोल के जाते थे फेस पे कि ऐसे बच्चे तो माँ बाप के लिए अभिशाप होते हैं, इससे अच्छा तो मर जाती तो अच्छा रहता. मतलब ये सब चीज़ें हाँ सुनी है मैंने. तो
और ये कौन बोलते थे?
जो लोग घर पे आते हैं, रिलेटिव्स होते हैं, नेबर्स होते हैं, आपके मतलब जानने वाले ही होते हैं. वो आते हैं कि नहीं जीना चाहिए था, अब कौन इससे शादी करेगा. सबसे बड़ी बात लाइक शादी, हाँ शादी सबसे
औरत को लेके शादी
एग्जैक्टली, हाँ कि शादी नहीं होगी तो कुछ नहीं होगा लाइफ में. वही चीज़ थी. तो बट मुझे कभी भी इन चीज़ों से निगेटिव इम्पैक्ट नहीं मिला, बल्कि कहीं ना कहीं एक पॉजिटिविटी मिली कि हाँ ये चीज़ें हैं, लोगों की मेंटालिटी ऐसी है तो यू हैव टू चेंज इट. और मुझे लगता है कि शायद भगवान ने मुझे चूज़ किया, उनको कहीं ना कहीं मेरे ऊपर ये कॉन्फिडेंस था कि ये लड़की लड़ जाएगी. तो जब ऊपर वाले ने भरोसा दिखाया है तो फिर मुझे तो हार नहीं माननी थी. तो हाँ डेफिनेटली बहुत मुश्किल था, क्योंकि आपको नहीं समझ में आता कि अब आपको क्या करना है. एकदम से भागती दौड़ती ज़िंदगी एक बिस्तर के ऊपर आके सिमट जाती है. और शुरू के 3-4 साल तो ट्रीटमेंट में ही निकले. हम लोगों ने बहुत ट्रैवल किया, सब जगह जिसने जहाँ भी बताया हम लोग ट्रीटमेंट के लिए गए. बट जब ये कंफर्म हो गया था 1-2 साल के बाद में कि अब शायद लाइफ लॉन्ग यू हैव टू स्टे ऑन व्हील चेयर, तो सबसे बड़ी चीज़ यही थी कि अब आपको क्या करना है, कैसे अपने आप को प्रूव करना है. तो क्योंकि मैं ग्रेजुएट थी, मतलब एजुकेशन मेरे पास में थी और मैं एलिजिबल थी कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्ज़ाम्स में अपीयर होने के लिए, तो मैंने घर पे बैठ के पढ़ाई शुरू की. मैं लेट के पढ़ाई करती थी पूरे टाइम, क्योंकि सिटिंग उस टाइम अलाउड नहीं थी. फिर 2010 में मेरा स्टेट बैंक ऑफ इंडिया में सिलेक्शन हुआ एज ए प्रोबेशनरी ऑफिसर. वहाँ से एक कॉन्फिडेंस आया लाइफ में कि हाँ अभी आप कुछ कर सकते हो. और फिर जो एक सपना था अपनी कंट्री के लिए कुछ करने का, वो कहीं ना कहीं अधूरा था. तो I wanted to serve my nation.
And that's how you became a Paralympic.
Exactly.
Amazing. I mean, I think that's the point, that when we talk about self-love, everyone's struggles are so different, aren't they, Sakshi? And then we have this trope called body positivity. It doesn't actually explain or cover anything. Is there a danger of it becoming a kind of new cliche? How do you take the conversation beyond it to make it more meaningful?
I don't think I recognize with the term body positivity anymore. I don't like...
But it's used for everything.
No, but it's also, I'm not body positive all day, every day. I'm more body neutral. And let's be realistic. Body neutrality essentially means that there are going to be days, some days that you will love your body. Some days you're not going to be okay with your body, but you still will appreciate and accept your body. But you'll still work on growing and just becoming the fittest version of yourself. You know, and that's very important. Even body positivity in that sense is not being okay with however you're looking. You should love yourself, but you should never stop working on yourself. It's not an excuse for you to
not
not
be
work
healthy.
on your,
To not be
to not
healthy.
work. Yeah, definitely. And I think the more body positive you are, the more healthy you are. I'm the fittest person I know in my whole circle.
Really?
I love it. I've done a workout before I came to Jaipur today morning.
Oh my God, okay, now,
Yeah,
now
no,
you're
I
really
boxed.
creating pressure for the rest of us. I had two hamburgers, not even one, in the 5 minutes I got backstage.
Which is fine, which is completely okay. And I would do the same thing. You know, it's not like you shouldn't have burgers or you should restrict yourself.
Yeah.
I've gone through an eating disorder, and I will personally say not a lot of people know about this. Again, a struggle where I had completely stopped eating. I would eat two
When
spoons
was this?
because I was completely insecure.
No,
and
when was this?
When I was in 9th, 10th
You had
grade.
an eating disorder in class 9.
Yeah. And I didn't know what
And
a
was
therapist
was it the bullying at school that led to it?
1000%. 1000%.
And what happened?
Actually, it was not just the bullying. I think it was also, I got dengue and I had severe dengue and I lost a lot of weight. So when I went back, it's not the best thing to do, but the principal called me to the office and I was an A-grade student. Why would the principal call me to the office, right? She called me to ask me how did I lose that much amount of weight. And everybody was appreciating me so much that I'd lost weight. And I'd not lost weight because I worked on it, because I was seriously sick. I was hospitalized for such a long time. And I think I sort of got addicted to those compliments and I thought like I'm accepted now that I've lost weight. And then the cycle started and the eating disorder started where everybody
So what would
just...
you do? You would not eat? You would be bulimic? What happened?
Completely, I just stopped eating. For about 6 months, I would, like I said, I would survive on like 2 spoons of rice and that's it. I'm not kidding. Like I would only have salads and like this much rice and that's it. I was barely eating. I was eating maybe like 500 calories a day, maybe something like that. And again, I would fall sick twice a month and finally somebody saw it in the house. And my house it's a very loving family. But you know, they were also, I think, like all families, they are also set with those notions कि लड़की पतली होनी चाहिए, तभी वो सुंदर लगेगी, तभी उसकी शादी होगी.
शादी पे आ गए वापस.
Same conversation happens in, I think, pretty much every household. This is something that we all relate with.
Yeah.
And that was also a conversation for me. So when I lost weight, people appreciated me so much.
Yeah.
Like I'd seen that losing weight through not eating enough. During boards, when I was so stressed, I started stress eating and I gained all that weight. And I gained so much weight in like 2 months that people were just like, now she's ugly again. And that term was so...
Unbelievable.
You know, like I would hear those terms where they would start a diet conversation in the house. We were sitting for dinner. Why do you need to start a diet conversation in the midst of it all? And those were really, really hard. But then I just realized slowly and steadily that this is something which does not matter. Like I think I grew up.
Yeah.
I started adulting and I saw that there are much bigger things to focus on than...
I mean, Shatabdi, look at her.
Exactly,
right? So,
exactly. And at the end of it, I think people who bullied me or saw me as a lesser human being back in the day appreciate me and are fans of what I do. So I think we...
it turns full circle.
It turns full circle.
Okay, anyone here who wants to come up and share their story? We've had some stories on stage today, how you wrestled with your own demons to reach a place where you got comfortable with who you are. Anyone? Come on. It's tough to get people to say what they're actually going through. It's often very personal, so we have to admire these women for doing it. Yes.
Good evening to all and to lovely ladies. Actually, I am a cancer survivor and I have gone through the breast cancer, through surgeries, chemos and a bald head. Then after that I got the confidence. The beauty lies within it. मैं बिना सर के बालों पे घूमी हूँ सबके सामने, तो उसके बाद से जो कॉन्फिडेंस आया और आज मैं एंटरप्रेन्योर हूँ, डॉक्टर हूँ, वो सब वहाँ से टर्निंग पॉइंट लाइक मैम. Thanks a lot. And you all are inspiration to all of us. Thank you, ma'am.
तो आप जब सेल्फ लव ये फ्रेज सुनती हैं, आपके लिए ये क्या मायने रखता है?
सबसे पहले आपकी हेल्थ है. It's the only spirit that can. अगर आपकी हेल्थ है, you can do anything. That's the self love.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Anyone else? Yeah.
And that physical and mental health.
Yeah. Why don't you say that before we
health
take?
is more important.
आप कुछ बोलना चाहेंगी? बोलो शिता.
I'm just saying mental health is more important.
And Sakshi and Sanjana, you want to add to that before I take the next question? Yeah.
Thank you, Barkha. It was very inspiring, all three of you, and of course, Barkha, the way you make it sound. I mean, I have never had a more energetic day than I've had today. And I'll tell you, I won't name that person. She's a friend's daughter. She's an MD doctor. She got married. She went to the US. And can you believe it, that her husband's friends body shamed her. And she was crying all the time. And she's an MD doctor. I'm like, you are so educated, and why are you doing that? So that's one instance. And about me personally, I'll say something which I usually, now I'm more comfortable saying that because I've attained my menopause or whatever. I married late. I didn't change my maiden name. That was way back because I had very progressive parents. And I didn't have a child out of choice. And my parents never pressured me for that. And I think that was my choice. And, you know, my husband supported me in that, but I've never felt ashamed to say that it was my choice. And I think the choice lies with the woman. You know, nobody can pressurize you to do anything. I think that's very important. And I've never been apologetic about it. I say it with full that I was completely okay, but I didn't have a child out of choice. I love my niece and she's like my daughter. So I'll just say that.
There's so many, thank you. There's so many different ways in which we seek to buttonhole women. And when we talk about this, you know, fabulous as I am, what we're really talking about is acceptance. And before you can have the acceptance of other people, you've got to accept yourself. But it ain't easy because you've got all of this sort of mass media, you know, blitzkrieg of images, and you think that you have to fit one of those images. Did you go through your own journey with that, Sanjana?
Yes, but I have to say, before I say anything else to this question, I have to say on behalf of a generation of Indian women, thank you.
Oh.
I think when you talk about what we saw in the media, like for me and my family, watching you was such a formative part of my upbringing. And so I think what's important there is that we had a positive image.
Oh, thank you.
And I mean, I'm just such a big, we were fangirling over you, as they say.
Thank you.
But that's what it is, you know, representation matters more than anything else. So having Sakshi out there, I mean, I went to Couture Fashion Week and Sakshi was in every single fashion show. So for me, that spoke volumes, right? So yes, we are bombarded with these images of sort of the prototype body, the perfect image of somebody. But I think it is hopefully changing now a bit, although I'm disheartened because I think, you know, again, like we've sort of come to this place where we're disavowing the term body positivity because, like you said, it becomes a cliche, it becomes a trend. Yeah. And I've heard that the international fashion weeks, especially this season, have become far less, you know, representative, inclusive of real bodies. And I think that's the real shame of it, right? Is like, it became cool because it was like a trend, and then now it's not quite as cool. But I think, like, you know, that's why what we're doing here is so important, because we have to make sure we get these images out to the girls that are, you know, the young girls. I mean, I have a daughter, right? So for me, it's of paramount importance that she gets exposure to all kinds of, you know, body types, ideologies, everything. So, you know, I'm super grateful to Sakshi and to you, ma'am, and to everybody that is out there, you know, really showing the image of what reality is. Because what's on Instagram, what's on social media, it's not real.
So that was going to be my last question as we close to you, Sakshi. You know, in some ways, social media has been both a kind of vehicle for rebellion, for assertion, for autonomy, but it is also a way of homogenizing the idea of beauty, the idea of cool. And many young girls, especially who are on social media, perennially wired, they get their ideas from that idea. So for someone like you who's on Instagram, your feed is such a liberating feed, but at the same time, social media is also a vehicle for prototyping. How do you personally avoid the trap of not becoming a prototype and not offering a kind of pressure to others who are following you and maybe want to be like you? Because the toughest thing for women is to be yourself. I know,
that's
a lot.
One loaded.
I know, that's one long question.
That was one loaded question.
No, not loaded, genuine question.
Big question. Honest answer, I don't think, I'm also navigating it because we're the first generation trying to navigate this, so we're trying to do our best in terms of speaking about the things that are authentic to us and means to something to us. So I think that's the one thing that helps me navigate this space is authenticity. I try to be myself, and I think I try to show the real person as well. So sometimes when I'm having a bad day, I sometimes go and cry on my stories and tell people it's okay to have a bad day, or it's okay to have a bad life.
And it's okay to cry.
Yeah, I suffer for anxiety. I get so much hatred for being a happy person. You're too happy for a regular human being. Like, as if it's a bad thing, like you smile too much, or what do you eat in the morning? Like, this is another hate comment that I get. So sometimes, more often than not, I go on my social media and I tell people that I also, like, I've been dealing with anxiety pretty much all my life. And it's generational. I've seen my nanny go through it. I've seen my mother go through it. I've seen my sister go through it. So it's something that I'm very aware of it. And I think one thing that I thought of, education does not make you body positive. Yeah. Awareness does. So even if you're like super educated, like I'm trying to create awareness through my platform and trying to tell the younger girls who are trying, maybe like who follow me than following, the traditional stars per se, that be who you are, but also never forget to work on yourself. That's very, very important. And the fact that, you can really, like, you don't have to be a social media star, or you don't have to be somebody on a public platform to change the world. You can change your own circle, and that'll be like a effect, and that'll have a long lasting effect. So just always remember that.
And what would you tell your 18-year-old self?
Life gets easier in terms of
that's
accepting.
Important for this room to hear, right?
Life gets easier when it comes to accepting yourself. You genuinely realize the power that you hold within yourself, and that once you change your mentality, trust me, other people's opinions are not going to be as strong as your own opinion of yourself. So I know that we all have the tendency to overpower the negative. Like, we'll get that one negative comment in a day, and then we'll get 100 positive comments. We'll think of that one negative comment. But
what about all the positive comments? Focus there.
Yes, you focus on that.
Well, I just want to say all three of you are fabulous. It's a pleasure to have you on this platform. And keep shining, keep being happy. Grab every happy moment. Why not? And more power to you in particular, Shatabdi, because you have had to fight hard, and thank you. Let's have a big round of applause for these three fabulous women. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting us.
Thank you.
No, it's the truth.
It's the truth. Oh my God. Oh, my sister must be freaking out right now. She got a haircut like you.
Oh, really? I know, mine is grown right now, so I have to tie it up. But
she used to look up to you so much that she ended up getting a haircut like you, and my parents freaked out.
Oh, give her my love. Give her my love. Come. Can we just escort Shatabdi off? I think she'll go back that way, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. She'll go back that way because the ramp is there. Thank you. Thank you.